Welcome back to a brand new video, everyone. Today I'll be talking about Hollywood Dream, the ride at Universal Studios Japan in Osaka, Japan. This roller coaster opened up in June of 2007 with a maximum height of 144 feet, a speed of 55 miles per hour, and a vertical angle of 50 degrees on that drop. So this is an interesting coaster because B&M used their Hyper model for this. In case you don't know, a Hyper coaster is a coaster between 200 and 299 feet, but this is actually under 200 feet. In fact, it's not even close. It's 144 feet. So what's interesting is that this does appear in Hyper lists, but it's not really a Hyper. So for purposes of this review, I will compare it to other B&M Hyper coasters, but just please know I do know it's not an actual Hyper coaster. So let's talk about this roller coaster's location in the park. So this roller coaster is located near the entrance. In case you haven't been to this park or seen any pictures, in the entrance there's this giant thin dome built over the entrance and main plaza, and this roller coaster goes over that. It's much like Gatekeeper at Cedar Point, in case you didn't know about that. So yeah, it's a very scenic roller coaster. I love its track and its color scheme. The layout is really cool, how it goes in and throughout the entrance, and you get some pretty cool shots of this coaster. It'd be great if my GoPro wasn't dead that day. I wanted to talk about your general experience. So this ride has a pretty interesting entrance because there are three different choices that you can pick to do this ride. So you can do single rider for Hollywood Dream, and then you can do backdrop, which is basically the entire ride, but it's backwards. So I wanted to talk about backdrop. So this is basically the exact same ride course, same layout, same everything, except the train is flipped on its side, it's flipped backwards. So you get to ride the entire train backwards. This is not like DC Rivals Hypercoaster in Queensland, Australia, where in effect the last row is flipped, the entire train is flipped, and it is actually said to be a new credit. However, I do not consider it a different credit. So you basically get to pick which one you do. If you want to ride Hollywood Dream, then I would recommend doing the single rider line, as you get on the coaster a lot faster. And then backdrop, you cannot do single ride, so you're just going to have to wait for that. Backdrop gets longer lines, however, there's actually less people that wait. That's because there are 4 trains that operate usually, 3 Hollywood Dream trains, and then 1 backdrop train. So if you want to get on backdrop, you will have to wait. I only got to ride it twice, and then I rode Hollywood Dream once because of the lines. The lines were insane for both of these, despite the great operations. So for theming this ride, it's not as good as some of the other rides in the park. The architecture is subtle. It's hinted towards the Hollywood architecture, I guess, very bright colors. All the employees are dressed in suits and acting costumes, which is kind of cool, I guess, but nothing over the top. This is not like Flying Dinosaur or Harry Potter, where it's just over the top theming, back to back insane theming. No, this is just pretty subtle. It's not anything to rave about. It's better than your Cedar Fair and Six Flags, but it's not better than the rest of the rides in the park. Talking about your actual ride experience, so you will get to your station. It's a double loading platform. You do not get to pick your row. However, I was lucky enough to get put, my favorite ride was in the back seat of the backdrop coaster. So it's actually in the front of the train, but in the back of the actual row. So basically, in case you don't know what that means, the seat where you get the most airtime, the back. Anyway, you'll turn right out of the station, go up this lift hill, and for some reason it's enclosed. I'm pretty sure it's because the Japanese really hate being in the sun. So I'm pretty sure that's why, but it could be for another reason. If anyone knows, please let me know down in the comment section below. So you'll go up this lift hill, and you'll crest at the top. Of course, your train lights up, and you will go down this drop. This drop was really underwhelming in my opinion. It fell over really, really quickly, and yeah, it wasn't that great of a drop. In the back, it's good, but in the rest of the rows, it's just meh. So then you'll go into this little ejector pop, which you don't get any ejector airtime. You should, but you don't. Following that, you'll go into this little bank turn, into a turnaround. This should be intense, but it's just not. It's kind of forceless. Following that, you'll go into this sort of awkward banked turn / airtime thing. B&M couldn't make up their mind. Then you'll go into these 3 back-to-back airtime hills, which quite frankly I love. Each of them provides great sustained ejector airtime, especially in the back or front of the train. It's just great. These 3 back-to-back airtime hills are wonderful. You also get some cool hand chopper effects because you're right up against that structure. It's great. Then you'll go into your mid-course brake run, which is just fine. And then it doesn't kill you too much. Then you're going to go into this awkward bank turn. It didn't really feel that awkward, but it looks weird. And then you will navigate into this double helix, which faces up. Usually helixes face down, which makes them more forceful, but this helix just felt forceless. Then you'll go into 2 airtime pops, which are okay, into this tunnel, which has flashing lights. I'm not even sure why it's there. It's kind of a straight section, into your brake run. So it doesn't seem like that great of a layout. And I'll be honest with you, the first half of this coaster is honestly pretty terrible. It's forceless, it doesn't really do much, and it's just kind of small. However, the second half of this coaster, those 3 airtime hills and double Helix, is just great. You get great sustained ejector airtime, and I will admit that Helix was a little bit forceful. Like I said, not as forceful as most Helixes because it's facing up, not down, which is weird. But, you know, it's still all good. It's still a great ride. So I wanted to talk about the cons of this ride. And the cons, like I just said, it's just really small. And especially because they used the hyper model, it feels like they made a megalite almost. And B&M just isn't good at these kinds of coasters. In my opinion, B&M is built for the big, drawn-out coasters. And this coaster just tries to be intense and fails miserably at it. However, this does have some cool stuff going for it. For one, you get to pick your song out of 5. This is not like the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Studios Orlando, where you get like over 50 songs. Here it's only 5, but I really like the Pharrell Williams Happy song was really good on this. Bad by Michael Jackson fit really well with this ride. It was very well synced. So yeah, honestly, there's not much to say about this coaster. Is it my favorite ride in the park? No, I prefer Harry Potter, The Forbidden Journey, which is a dark ride located not that far down the corner. And then I'm pretty sure that I prefer Flying Dinosaur over this. Flying Dinosaur is really great. Usually I would take airtime and great drops over any B&M looping coaster, really. But in this case, I'm going to take Flying Dinosaur over it just because it's a lot more intense and a lot more forceful. So yeah, that wraps up today's video. Not too detailed, I know, just because there's not really much to say about this coaster. It's just kind of, you know, meh. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Coaster Cupcake. I really hope you subscribe, like, and of course share the video. See you guys next time.